Hello, in this video we are going to discuss about liquid-liquid partition chromatography. Now this chromatography is a separation and that depends upon the solute partitioning between stationary liquid phase and mobile liquid phase. Okay, on the basis of solute partitioning between the stationary liquid phase and mobile liquid phase, there is separation. And that is what this liquid-liquid partition chromatography is all about. Now the substances which are more soluble in the mobile phase will pass rapidly through the system, and the substances that favor stationary phase, those substances will be retarded. Okay, so there are two kinds of substances, one which are more soluble in the mobile phase and the one which favor the stationary phase. Okay, those which are more soluble in the mobile phase, they will pass rapidly through the system, and those that favor the stationary phase will be retarded. Now this partition chromatography is also divided into two types. The first type is normal phase partition chromatography, and the second type is the reversed phase partition chromatography. Okay, normal phase partition chromatography and reverse phase partition chromatography are the two types of this partition chromatography. Now let's look at the normal phase partition chromatography. Now this normal phase partition chromatography is an elution procedure, and in this elution procedure the stationary phase is more polar than mobile phase. Okay, stationary phase is more polar than mobile phase in case of normal phase partition chromatography. So the stationary phase is more polar than mobile phase, and that is the reason why during elution least polar analyte will elute first and the most polar analyte will elute last. Okay, least polar analyte will be eluted first and the most polar analyte will be eluted last. Why? Because the stationary phase is more polar. Okay, so the more polar analyte will stick to the stationary phase and the least polar will not interact with the stationary phase, and that is the reason why this least polar will elute first and then the most polar will elute last, and that is what is happening in normal phase partition chromatography. The stationary phase is more polar than the mobile phase. Now the second type of the partition chromatography that we saw is reversed phase partition chromatography. Now this reversed phase partition chromatography is an elution procedure in which the mobile phase is more polar, significantly more polar than the stationary phase. Okay, so in case of normal phase partition chromatography, the stationary phase was more polar, but in this case, in case of reversed phase partition chromatography, your mobile phase is significantly more polar than the stationary phase. So in the case of reversed phase partition chromatography, as your mobile phase is significantly more polar, the most polar solutes will elute first and the least polar solutes will elute last. Okay, the solutes which are more polar will interact, okay, with the mobile phase, because mobile phase is polar, and with the mobile phase this polar solutes will also elute. But if the solute is least polar, then it will interact with the stationary phase and it will elute last. So that is how it is happening in case of the reversed phase partition chromatography. Now let's talk about paper chromatography. You have heard a lot about paper chromatography. We have performed it in lab. So paper chromatography is a type of partition chromatography. Now in paper chromatography, the end of paper is dipped into a solvent mixture, and that solvent mixture is made up of aqueous and organic components. Okay, the paper chromatography is a type of partition chromatography the end of paper is dipped into a solvent mixture. This solvent mixture into which the end of paper is dipped is made up of aqueous and organic components. Now the solvent is soaked by paper. Okay, paper soaks solvent. And why this happens? This happens because of the capillary action of the fibrous nature of paper. Paper have fibers. Those fibers have a capillary action. That property is there, and that is the reason why this paper is able to soak the solvent. Now the aqueous component of the solvent. Okay, the solvent has an aqueous component. That aqueous component of the solvent binds with the cellulose of the paper, and the aqueous component of the solvent bound to the cellulose of paper, this thing forms the stationary phase. So in paper chromatography, the stationary phase is the cellulose of paper bound with the aqueous component of the solvent. Now the organic component of the solvent migrate, and that organic component is your mobile phase. So the solvent mixture has two things, the aqueous component and the organic component. Now the aqueous component with the cellulose forms the stationary phase, whereas the organic component migrate, and that is the reason why it forms mobile phase. Now the rates of migration of various substances that has to be separated depends upon the relative solubilities. Okay, their relative solubilities. Okay, the relative solubilities of these substances in the polar stationary phase and the non-polar mobile phase. Okay, mobile phase is non-polar, the stationary phase is polar. How, what solubility are these various substances are showing? On the basis of that, the rate of migration will be there, and that is how the various substances are going to be separated by the paper chromatography. Now during separation process in this paper chromatography, during the process of separation, the given solute is distributed in mobile phase and stationary phase, and this distribution of that solute depends upon its partition coefficient. Okay, what is the partition coefficient of this solute? On that, this solute is going to be distributed in mobile phase and in stationary phase during the separation procedure. So the non-polar molecules, okay, during the process of separation, the non-polar molecules will move faster than the polar molecules, and the migration rate of a substance during paper chromatography is usually expressed by a dimensionless term known as RF, relative front, and this RF is the ratio of the distance traveled by the substance to the distance traveled by the solvent front. Okay, the migration rate of a particular substance during paper chromatography is usually expressed by a dimensionless term which is known as RF, relative front, and this RF value is just the ratio of the distance traveled by the substance to the distance traveled by the solvent front. So yeah, this is what it is. The RF is equal to distance traveled by the substance divided by the distance traveled by the solvent front. Now this RF value can be calculated in those instances where the solvent is not allowed to leave the end of the paper sheet. If the solvent escapes the paper sheet, then how are you going to measure the solvent front? And if the solvent front value is not there, then you cannot calculate the RF value. So RF value can only be calculated in those instances where the solvent is not allowed to leave the end of the paper sheet. So this is how the paper chromatography looks like. Okay, you draw a line. Okay, we all have done this in lab, and you put a mixture of substances that you have to separate, and then you dip the end of that paper into a solvent mixture, and then this solvent flows through the paper, and that substance which you placed here migrates with the mobile phase and gets separated into A and B. Now this P value is representing the distance traveled by the substance A, and this Q value is representing the distance traveled by the substance B, and the R value is representing the distance traveled by the solvent front. Okay, this is your solvent front. So the RF value for B is equal to Q by R. Okay, Q by R gives the RF value for B, and for A the RF value is P by R. Okay, P divided by R will give the RF value for A. Okay, so this is how you can draw this diagram when the paper chromatography is asked. Okay, now the paper chromatograms that you develop. Okay, this is paper chromatogram. Okay, this thing is paper chromatogram. Now this paper chromatograms can be developed by ascending solvent flow and as well descending solvent flow, and whether you choose ascending solvent flow or descending solvent flow, that is your choice. That is according to the need of the experiment that you want to do, and these choices make a little difference, okay, in the quality of the chromatograms that are developed. So it is not that significant, and it depends upon you whether you want to develop it by doing ascending solvent flow or descending solvent flow. It's up to you. Now the descending chromatograms have two advantages. Okay, the first advantage is that the chromatogram is developed at a faster rate as the gravity aids the flow of solvent. Okay, the flow of mobile phase to the stationary phase is aided by the gravity, and that is how your chromatogram develops faster if you use descending technique. And the second thing is that you can do quantitative separation of the materials which have very small RF values. Okay, which it means you can separate those materials which move very slow during the paper chromatography. Why? Because you can long run them. Okay, solvent is going to run off of the paper. Okay, if you are doing ascending chromatography, then there is a limit for the solvent, but if you are doing it in a descending way, then there is no limit for the solvent front. Okay, it can run off the paper and it can go down as much as it has to, and then the materials which are which have very small RF values can go to a long run and they can be separated. So you can use descending chromatograms to separate those materials which has very small RF value, that is they migrate at a very slow rate. So that is all for this video. Thank you for listening to me.